running back Le'Veon Bell will make his season debut against the Rams on Sunday after serving his 2-game suspension. Bell played the majority of the Steelers' offensive snaps last season, second highest among NFL running backs, and Pittsburgh has won 6 of their last 7 games against the NFC West, while St. Louis has lost 7 of their last 8 against the AFC North. Very interesting. Stephen A. Smith, who wins? I know this is your team, the Steelers, so you sticking with your squad?
I'm rolling with my squad, but it's not because they're my squad. It's because I don't really believe in the St. Louis Rams as of yet. I know that their defense can really, really get it done, but the Steelers are the number 3 ranked offense in the NFL. They're number 1 in yards. They're the number 2 passing attack. They've got a all-pro in Ben Roethlisberger, who's already passed for 720 yards in this season and is completing about 72% of his passes. You've got a receiver in Antonio Brown that I consider the best receiver in football at this particular juncture, already having about 22 receptions for 328 yards. This is without Le'Veon Bell because they had D'Angelo Williams back there, who they acquired in the offseason when he departed from Carolina and ended up coming to Pittsburgh. He was averaging about 5 yards a carry. Now you got Le'Veon Bell to throw up in there, who's going to be anxious to get going himself. Now, there's a lot of noise being made about the arrival of Todd Gurley, and obviously he couldn't come soon enough. The Rams accumulated this 213 yards and 11 first downs last week against the Washington Redskins, the second worst offense in all of football right now in terms of yards at about 285 per game. It's anemic, to say the least. The Nick Foles experiment doesn't seem to be working out from an offensive standpoint, at least based off of last week's game. They certainly showed up in week 1. But I just think at the end of the day, Skip, the Steelers' offense is so prolific, they're going to score points on anybody. Now, that front 4 to that front 7 in St. Louis, they're going to get after Big Ben, and he's not the scrambling. The way he shrugs off most dudes, he's not going to be able to do that to Quinn and McDonald and those guys the way he's normally capable of doing, in my estimation. But I think they'll do a good enough job of blocking for him. I think he's going to show up and have a big game. More importantly, I think this defense of the Pittsburgh Steelers, who's really going after dudes with Shazier, with this kid Blake, with this rookie Bud Dupree out of Kentucky, who's accustomed to seeing Todd Gurley and has been raving about him all week long in Pittsburgh. I think they'll be ready for the challenge. It's not to say that St. Louis is going to be completely anemic, but I don't think that they're going to be able to match the offensive firepower of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I'm picking the Steelers to win this game 37-21.
Wow, 37-21. That's decisive. You have conviction about your pick. I have no conviction about your pick, but I do like mine. This will be a shootout. This will be, I think, the most entertaining game of the whole NFL Sunday.
Really?
I just believe it's going to be great to watch because they're both going to go up and down the field on each other. I think it'll look a lot like St. Louis versus Seattle. Remember week 1 in St. Louis? It was a shootout that went to overtime. The final score was 34-31 Rams. And I'm going to repeat that score. Rams 34, Steelers 31, because you don't believe in the Rams, but I do. I picked them before the year to be a wild card team. I'm sticking with that. And you brought him up. While Le'Veon is back finally for your Steelers, Todd Gurley, for the first time, is going to make an appearance for these Rams. I don't know how many carries he's going to get, Stephen A. I don't know if there's sort of a pitch count going on here. I don't know, but they say he will touch the football, and I think he will have impact on this game. I love Todd Gurley. If you remember before the draft, I thought this was a great choice by then. They got him. I thought that was a steal to get him all the way down at 10th, even though we all know that projecting running backs to have major impact is kind of a thing of the past in the National Football League. I get that.
Right.
Todd Gurley's going to have impact on this team that so badly needs him at this juncture. And look, what happened to the Rams, we all ride the roller coaster. I'm going to say it again. They laid an emotional egg at Washington after such an emotional victory against their arch rival Seattle on opening Sunday. They did not take the Redskins seriously enough, and they came out flat, psychologically flat. They didn't travel well emotionally. They fell behind 17-0 at half, and Matt Jones ran the football right down their throats. So can Le'Veon and D'Angelo continue? They probably will. They're going to get theirs. We know Ben's going to get his. We really know that Antonio Brown is going to get his again and again. But little Tavon Austin's going to get some too with Nick Foles. I like them on their home turf. I like the crowd behind them. I like the shootout. I think it'll be wildly entertaining. And I'm going to go 34-31 home team.
I'm not sold on Todd Gurley the way that you are. I'm not questioning his talent because I know his big time. I have no questions about that. I'm just one of those people, Skip Bayless. I always believe he's run too high and that he's right to get hurt on the NFL level, and I really question his durability on that level. I know he's big time. There's no questioning his ability, but 10 months off a surgically repaired knee and your first encounters against the Pittsburgh Steelers, I understand. I'm just not the believer that you are as of yet. We'll see what he does. I have no doubt that he'll have some semblance of an impact because the brother can play. But I just don't know if this is the game that he's going to make that much of a difference.
But wait a
I'm
second.
still sticking with my Steelers.
Yeah, but I mean, these aren't the Steelers of your childhood that
no,
pulled
they're
you
not
in
the
as
steel
a fan,
curtain.
right?
They're not the steel curtain.
Mean Joe Green out there, right?
I understand that, but they're not cream puffs either. And I just think that in a game like this, this is your first action in 10 months. I'm just not sold that you're going to be able to make that much of a difference against this high-powered offense. Now, if a miracle happens and you punch the Steelers in the mouth the way that Denver got punched in the mouth at St. Louis last season when they beat Peyton Manning 22-7, then all bets are off. That's a different ballgame. I don't anticipate that happening. I think the Steelers' offense is going to find a way to put up some points.
Are you old enough to remember this guy named Eric Dickerson?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, thank you very much.
You know what? It's interesting. Well, it's interesting that you brought that up because apparently you must have been having a conversation with Robert Smith because Robert Smith brought that up to me when we were talking about it Sunday, and I said
no
that was a different.
With Robert.
I said
I'm close.
Well,
with
I said
Robert.
it was. Well, I said it was a different time because back in the day, Skip, even though guys got hurt all the time, you have to remember back in Eric Dickerson's day, even though cats got hurt, I would dare say folks were headhunters. That's why the concussion issues are such a big deal today. People loved hitting you high. They loved caving your chest in or knocking your head off. Now, because of the new rules that have been implemented, I think you see people targeting low more than ever before, which is why I'm constantly harping on guys who run high and don't seem to have the most powerful, durable legs. The shorter you are and stockier you are, the more attractive you are to me as a running back in today's NFL because of the rules that have guys targeting people low. Plus, evasiveness and elusivity really resonates with me more than the north-south runners like DeMarco Murray because of the rules and the way things are, implemented in this day and age. Even though DeMarco Murray had more yards and he was clearly more effective, if I'm Chip Kelly, at least based on the first two games we saw this season, I'd much rather have LaShawn McCoy, who's shorter and more elusive than a DeMarco Murray, because I think those guys tend to last longer.
Okay.
That is my concern for Todd Gurley.
Okay.
He'll run over you. He's big time, but I think that he might get himself hurt.
My point about Eric Dickerson is he ran as high as any great back I've ever seen. Had a very high center of gravity, and he did okay. He did okay. He was really, really good. And he was durable.
I get tired of people bringing up the Eric Dickerson comparison because what we need to recognize is high or low, short or tall, it doesn't matter. Most people who have played in NFL history ain't Eric Dickerson. No matter how talented Todd Gurley is and a whole bunch of other dudes, they ain't Eric Dickerson. You've got to prove that over the test of time. You can run for 2,000 yards this season. I remember a couple of years ago, even though Doug Martin is not the tallest dude in the world or anything like that, we were talking, you had people talking about him like he was the second coming to Emmitt Smith. And then he disappeared for a couple of years.
Well, he
all
got
I'm
hurt.
saying is
he had that one big first year. No, I know.
Well, he had a fantastic first year. All I'm saying is we're not questioning their abilities. I don't want anybody to confuse it. I know that Todd Gurley is a stud talent. I'm questioning how long he's going to last because of how high he runs. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, but when you dominate the Southeastern Conference the way he did in big games on national TV, I'm good.
Well, you got to remember. Well, bet on me with this one. If you remember, Skip, he was at Georgia. And he got, and you know, they had to sit him out for those couple of games off for some contract. And I went, and I was going off because I said, if I were him, tell Georgia to go kick rocks. I wouldn't look back. I would not come back and go to the draft. He decided to come back after a few games. What happened? He got hurt.
Yep.
And I said, don't come back because you might get hurt. Remember that?
You said it.
All right. Stephen A's going Steelers. Skip's going Rams. And you'll like this. I'm going Steelers 28-27 over Rams, but Skip,
I'm going to give you a revisit.
Skip,
Eagles Jets.
I reserve the right to change my opinion on Eagles Jets. Right?
Yes.
You guys always reserve the right, and I'm switching it. I'm on your team.
We'll see if the jinx works now.
I'm on your team.
Okay, here we go. All right.
17-16 Eagles.
I think the Jets just won. Guarantee it.
Stop. Why are you such a hater?
No, I'm not a
HTTR is hater, right? Not hail to the Redskins. Yeah. Coming up, Peyton Manning has never lost to the Lions. Will that streak continue this weekend? We'll discuss that next. Herman Edwards will be here with us.